Hello everyone, and I'm Autobot Sonic the Telltale Gamer, bringing latest and Telltale games, Transformers, and more. So for the past almost year now, I want to say, I've been focusing primarily on Transformers content. Of course, you guys have given me a lot of love for my reviews of Transformers Earthspark and just covering that show over the past year, so I want to thank you all so much for that. But if in case you haven't been around for the past 8 years, I started this channel on talking about Telltale games, which are my favorite video game developers of all time. I love their games, and unfortunately they shut down back in 2018 when they were finishing up The Walking Dead, the final season, and so I've kind of taken a step back and had to focus on Transformers content. However, that will be changing next week because Telltale is back with their first brand new game since they shut down in 2019, and that is with The Expanse, the Telltale series. This is a game that I've been looking forward to ever since they announced it 2 years ago at the 2021 VGAs, and with just less than 1 week now, we are away from the release of episode 1 of The Expanse of Telltale series, Archer's Paradox. I cannot be more excited about it. So this video is basically just going to be in everything you need to know about for The Expanse of Telltale series. Everything about what it's about, how it differs from other Telltale games, how it's similar, and then what is basically the game about and what the world of The Expanse is about. Because for any who don't know, I did make a video talking about The Expanse of Telltale series back when it was first announced 2 years ago, but at the time I didn't watch The Expanse. I didn't know what this show was about. Since then, I'm currently about almost halfway through season 2 of The Expanse, so I have a much better understanding of what this game is going to be about, and I'm happy to answer questions about it. So this video, we're going to be talking a lot about The Expanse of Telltale series. We're going to talk about first what the game's about, what the world of The Expanse is about, how this game is the same and different from other Telltale games, and then what version of The Expanse of Telltale series you should buy and what is included in each one and why you should get one version or the other. So if you're excited as I am to talk about The Expanse of Telltale series, which is Telltale's first new game in almost 5 years, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So for those of you who don't know, The Expanse of Telltale series was again announced 2 years ago at the 2021 VGAs, where Telltale announced they would be working with Deck Nine Games to create this game. Deck Nine, of course, for those who don't know, is an American video game studio known for developing many entries in the Life is Strange franchise. They created Life is Strange Before the Storm, which was a prequel to the very first Life is Strange game, and just about 2 years ago, they created Life is Strange True Colors, aka Life is Strange Season 3, both of which were incredible games and blew the original Life is Strange out of the water. If I had to rank every Life is Strange game from worst to best, I would say my least favorite is Life is Strange 1, then Before the Storm, then True Colors, and then Life is Strange 2 is probably my favorite. But I think True Colors and Before the Storm were incredible games. If you may have noticed, about 2 years ago, I was actually putting up a Let's Play of Life is Strange True Colors, though I stopped shortly after episode 2. That's just because there weren't a lot of views coming in, and I just didn't feel the need to continue it. But I do have the footage, though, and I recovered it from my old computer, so just for archive's sake, I may be uploading the rest of my Life is Strange True Colors Let's Play over the next few weeks as alongside my Let's Play of The Expanse of Telltale series. So, immediately from the gameplay segments we've seen of The Expanse of Telltale series, Deck Nine is handling the actual gameplay development of The Expanse of Telltale series, while Telltale's sort of producing the game. This is really a Deck Nine game just with a Telltale name slapped on top of it, which isn't a bad thing. I think Deck Nine's games are amazing. Again, Life is Strange Before the Storm and True Colors were awesome, but just keep that in mind, though, that this isn't going to feel a lot like a Telltale game. Sure, it will have some things that you've come to know and love from Telltale games, but it's going to feel more like a Deck Nine game, first and foremost, and that's totally okay. I'm really excited for that. Now, if you're like me, you're probably someone who's never even heard of a show called The Expanse. So, for any of you who are wondering, probably asking this question, but Sonic, what is The Expanse, and why should I care that Telltale's making a game about this over something like The Walking Dead Season 5, The Wolf Among Us Season 2, Batman and Telltale Series Season 3? Well, I'll be happy to tell you right now. Now again, I'm only about halfway through season 2 of the show myself. The show has 6 seasons, with the final season actually just started shortly back in 2021, shortly after Telltale announced this game, and since then, the Expanse television show has ended. And so, if you're wondering if you're gonna have to have seen The Expanse in order to understand The Expanse of Telltale series, you will not have to. The Expanse of Telltale series is a prequel to the show taking place before the events of Season 1, so if you've never seen the show, this will be your perfect way to get into it. But people, Deck Nine and Telltale have recommended that you should watch the show, at least some of it, before jumping in, so that you're able to appreciate the game to its fullest. So that's what I've been doing the past month and a half now, watching through The Expanse. So what exactly is The Expanse about? Imagine sort of like Game of Thrones if it was in space. That's pretty much the best comparison I can give to it. It's a really good sci-fi political drama where you have 3 interconnecting storylines covering 3 major factions in the world in the far future. We have Earth, Mars, and the various confines of space, which is referred to as the Belt. Each of them has their own unique story that we see in play throughout the course of the Expanse show to uncover this grand conspiracy that will eventually overlap each of their storylines one at a time. Minor spoilers for The Expanse Season 1 here, but in Season 1 we follow 3 primary storylines. The first, the whole tying gel, I guess, between all 3 storylines is that a famous Earth political figure, Julie Mao, ends up going missing after she defects to the Belt to try and become a freedom fighter of sorts for there. Since then, we have 3 storylines following this disappearance of Julie Mao. There's the Belt storyline, which focuses on a Belt detective on the main station in the Belt. It's called Sarah Station. This detective is Joe Miller, who is easily one of my favorite characters in the show, by the way, and he's currently investigating the disappearance of Julie Mao, and he's trying to uncover the conspiracy of how she went missing. Then we have a sort of Belt/Martian storyline focusing on James Holden, who is the captain of this ship called the UNN Rocinante, which, for any of my Transformer fans, you may recognize that being the name of Moe's bicycle from Transformers Earthspark, which Thrash had affectionately named his alt mode as well, so I thought that was a fun little thing. So Holden's story is about him and his crew on the Rocinante, just trying to survive and get revenge on presumably pirates that destroyed his old cruise ship. But that will end up eventually tying him into the global conspiracy of Julie Mao that Miller is trying to investigate. And then our Earth storyline is focused on a woman named Christian Avasarala, who is one of the highest ranking members of the UN on Earth. Basically, if I compare it to Game of Thrones, Miller's story is essentially, I would say, maybe the Arya or Tyrion storyline of The Expanse. Holden's storyline is the Jon Snow equivalent of The Expanse. And then Avasarala's storyline is probably the Cersei with a bit of Tyrion mix as well. Hers is more so the political drama, where she has to navigate various politicians on Earth who are trying to usurp her power or undermine her, while at the same time trying to defend Earth from threats from both Mars and the Belt. And Avasarala's storyline is easily my favorite. I love her character, and we'll be talking more about her later on this episode, because I am really excited for what is going forward with her. So anyway, the storyline, though, you may be wondering, okay, so what's the Expanse Telltale series going to be about? Is it going to be about Miller? Is it going to be about Avasarala, Holden? Well, it's going to be about none of these characters, actually. So the Expanse Telltale series instead has you playing as a woman named Camina Drummer. Minor spoilers for The Expanse Season 2, but she is a character that doesn't show up until that season. She's part of the OPA and is the right-hand woman of Fred Johnson, who is this captain in another Belt station called Tycho Station. And Camina Drummer is a very big figure, and while her role in Season 2 so far has been minor, I've been told she becomes a much bigger character as the show unfolds. So you are actually playing as her in an origin story set before the events of Season 1. So this will explain how she ended up basically getting on Tycho Station and joining Fred Johnson there. So if you're wondering if the Expanse Telltale series is going to touch on any of the storylines that are in the show, such as the disappearance of Julie Mao or other conspiracies like that, such as the Proto-Molecule. I'm only mentioning that name by now. I'm not going to go into further detail for spoiler reasons. It is not going to focus on that. According to Telltale and Deck 9, the Expanse Telltale series actually is sort of a heist/pirate story, where you will play as Camina Drummer on board a ship called the UNN Artemis when she and the rest of the crew end up investigating a crashed ship in the middle of the Belt called the UNN Urshanabi, where a supposed big score is. And this will basically involve Camina Drummer having to deal with both pirates trying to get your stuff, as well as just dealing with interpersonal relationships on the crew of the Artemis, which I'm really looking forward to see. It feels a lot, actually, like Guardians of the Galaxy of Telltale series, which is probably tied with Tales from the Borderlands 1 and The Walking Dead: The Final Season as my favorite Telltale game of all time. So I am super, super excited for that. To better explain this, I'm going to go ahead and read the little summary of the Expanse Telltale series that Telltale has put on the official store page for the Epic Game Store. By the way, this game will be available exclusively on PC through the Epic Game Store, though Telltale has confirmed that in the near future it will be released on Steam. My guess is a year from now it'll be released on Steam, but if you want to get it on PC right now, the only way you can get it is through the Epic Games Store. It'll be available on July 27th, at least episode 1 will be actually, for the Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS4, PS5, and PC through the Epic Game Store. This will not be getting a Switch release, at least for now anyways. So let's go ahead and read the summary of the Expanse Telltale series that Telltale has posted on the official Epic Game Store page. Experience the exciting universe of The Expanse like never before in Telltale's latest adventure, The Expanse Telltale series. Follow Kara G, who reprises her role as Cremita Drummer, and explore the dangerous and uncharted edges of the Belt aboard the Artemis. From scavenging wrecked ships in zero-G environments to surviving immunity to combating fearsome pirates, you make the difficult choices and reveal Cremita Drummer's resolve in this latest Telltale adventure. Immerse yourself in the role of Cremita Drummer, the executive officer aboard the Artemis, a scavenging ship hunting for a big score in the outer regions of the Belt. You must corral a crew rife with tense relationships and powerful personalities and make tough decisions that will decide everyone's fate. Scour shipwrecks, use mag boots to walk on walls and ceilings, and utilize zero-G thrusters to float through the void. As you fly through sections of ships in the open expanse of space, interact with objects in the world, converse with members of the crew in the largest and most immersive exploration of any Telltale game to date. Contend with the unforgiving brutality of space, the politics of a corrupt solar system, the animosities of your crew, and Drummer's own conflicting responsibilities to the people she cares about and the Belt she is sworn to protect. There is no right or wrong path, only your choices and the consequences they unleash. Now that we've talked about the story of The Expanse and by extension the Expanse Telltale series, let's go ahead and talk about how the gameplay compares and differs from other Telltale games. So as mentioned in the store page description of the Expanse Telltale series, the game features very similar gameplay style things from previous Telltale games. You'll still see stuff like X character will remember that, every episode will be broken down, every chapter of the game will be broken down by episodes, you'll be able to explore. It's primarily an exploration game where you're going to be like exploring environments for objects and items and clues, solving a few small puzzles, and making difficult choices that will change the outcome of the game. What's different though is how these choices are presented. So in most Telltale games, with the exception of The Walking Dead: The Final Season, most games were at fixed camera angles in a sort of point-and-click adventure style. This changed in The Walking Dead: The Final Season, where it was moved to a third-person, over-the-shoulder camera, very similar to Life is Strange games, actually. And this was actually supposed to be how all Telltale games were going to be moving forward. As if you remember back in 2018, when gameplay of the canceled Stranger Things, the Telltale series, was leaked, the same camera style was used in that. What is different though is actually how choices are done. So if you're no stranger to Telltale games, you'll remember that there's always usually, with the exception of the AJ section of The Walking Dead: The Final Season, usually 4 choices to pick from. Usually 3 different dialogue choices, and then a 4th choice that's usually either staying silent, or in some cases you actually do have 4 choices, but usually the 4th choice is always just stay silent. In the Expanse Telltale series though, this is different, because it seems as though you only ever be able to make one of 2 choices. You'll never have the option, between 4 different choices, with one of them being silence. It seems as though silence will never be an option in the Expanse Telltale series. You'll always have to choose between one of 2 options. And from what it looked like in the gameplay, it doesn't seem like you'll ever have to have a timed section to make a choice. And that was a big thing of Telltale's games, where you would have conversations going and you only had a limited amount of time to make a choice, or otherwise the game would default to a choice for you. You'd either say nothing, or based on other conditions, a certain choice would be made for you. So it seems as though that's going away. There will be no time limits on choices in the Expanse Telltale series, which honestly I am a bit concerned about and worried, because that was sort of the charm of Telltale games, that you had to make your choices on the fly. You didn't have the luxury of pausing the game and agonizing over a choice. Similarly, I'm not sure how I feel about there only being 2 choices to pick from for most situations. Well, yes, sometimes in other Telltale games, for really big choices, you only had to pick one of 2 options. Normally, you got to pick 4 options, and I think taking away 2 of those options is sort of a misstep that I am not sure how I feel about it. So we'll have to wait and see how it feels when we actually play the Expanse Telltale series, but it's something that I'm a bit worried about, in my opinion. What I'm not worried about, though, is the exploration and improvement to the movement mechanics of the Expanse of Telltale series. So as I mentioned before, the Expanse of Telltale series will be a third-person over-the-shoulder game, very similar to The Walking Dead: The Final Season and the Life is Strange games. What will be different, though, is the whole zero-G mag boot system, which, based on the gameplay, actually, is very similar to how Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, did it, where if you never played Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series, the way that game worked is that you would, at points, be points where you would play Star-Lord, and you could use his jet boots to either ascend to multiple levels of the same environments. You would have fuel in some points, so you could only hover for a little bit at a time, but the UI and gameplay style of these mag boots and zero-G environments feels very, very similar to that. And as someone who, again, Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series is one of my favorite Telltale games of all time, so it makes me super happy to see that gameplay mechanic from Guardians of the Galaxy is coming over to the Expanse, just more polished. Another thing that's coming over from the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series is the ability to interact with your crewmates and like other characters during actual gameplay. And I'm pretty sure Telltale and Deck 9 mentioned this in a behind-the-scenes video that's called On the Stick Storytelling, where essentially, as you explore the Artemis and the Belt in the Expanse of Telltale series, you'll have the option to find various objects and then radio your crewmates about these objects, talking about them, or just talking about your situation in general. This, again, was a mechanic that was featured in Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series, where you as Star-Lord had the option to talk to Rocket, Gamora, Drax, Groot, at just any point in the game, either talking about stuff, and sometimes this would change the story. You improve your relationship with some Guardians, you'd get different outcomes if you said the wrong thing, and I'm really, really happy that Telltale is taking stuff from one of my favorite Telltale games and just expanding on it, no pun intended, with the Expanse of Telltale series. It's such a cool change, and I absolutely love it. Now, you may be asking, with how the Expanse of Telltale series is being developed, you might be wondering, Sonic, is the Expanse of Telltale series going to be like my good Telltale games where I got one episode at a time, maybe one episode every 2 or 3 months, and then by the end of the year, the whole game was completed? Or is this going to be like Life is Strange True Colors or New Tales in the Borderlands, where they drop all 5 episodes all at once? I am happy to confirm that the Expanse of Telltale series will be a fully episodic game and not just in name. So unlike games like Life is Strange True Colors and New Tales from the Borderlands, where, while yes, the game was broken into 5 episodes, you had access to all 5 episodes on launch day. That will not be the case with the Expanse of Telltale series. When the game comes out on July 27th or July 26th, if you pre-order the game, the Expanse of Telltale series will only launch with Episode 1. So you will get that classic Telltale experience of having to wait a few times, of having to wait a bit for each new episode. But you may be also wondering, but Sonic, am I going to have to wait like 3 to 4 months for Episode 2? Because I don't want to wait that long. That was a problem with the old Telltale, that I didn't like having to wait nearly half a year or a quarter of a year for another episode. Thankfully, that's not the case either, and you won't have to, they won't be releasing episodes too quickly either. That was a problem I had with one of Dopenod's games a few years ago called Tell Me Why. That game was released episodically, but they released 1 episode every week, so the game was over in just a month, and it felt like bleh. So, I mean, not saying Tell Me Why was a bad game, I loved it. It just felt kind of lame that they released all 3 episodes over the course of 3 weeks. So, thankfully, the Expanse of Telltale series is doing it just like I wanted them to. They'll be releasing every episode every 2 weeks starting on July 27th, which is exactly what I hoped for all the way back when they announced this game. I'm like, oh man, I'm hoping that they maybe wait 2 to 3 weeks between episodes. However, this doesn't mean that they're gonna finish every episode in the course of those 2 weeks. Not like, oh, they only have episode 1 and then they're gonna rush 2 weeks to finish episode 2. Telltale has confirmed that they finished all 5 episodes of the Expanse of Telltale series before episode 1 even came out. So the whole game and story is basically pretty much told. This is basically to ensure that there will be no major rewrites throughout the course of the game, and the game will maintain the same vision going forward. This is a problem that older Telltale games had for stuff like, for example, The Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, Tales from the Borderlands, where you would see in episode 1 the next time on for episode 2 would be one thing, but when the actual episode 2 came out 3 to 4 months later, the episode might be totally different. That won't be the case with Expanse of Telltale series. We don't know if they're going to have next time ons like other Telltale games had, but if they do, I doubt they're going to be so vastly different from each other. So when can you expect each episode of the Expanse of Telltale series to come out? So, as I said before, next week on Thursday, July 27th, episode 1, Archer's Paradox will be released. Then, 2 weeks after that, on August 10th, Episode 2 Hunting Grounds will be released. 2 weeks after that, on August 24th, we'll get Episode 3 First Ones. 2 weeks after that, on September 7th, we'll be getting Episode 4 Impossible Objects. And then 2 weeks after that, on September 21st, we'll be getting the final episode of the Expanse of Telltale series, Episode 5 Europa's Folly. So yeah, we are getting pretty much almost 2 months worth of Telltale content with this new release schedule for the Expanse of Telltale series, where the first episode will be released next week, and we'll have to wait until September 21st for the release of Episode 5. So I am super excited for that, and I'm really excited to talk about the Expanse of Telltale series. I'm ready to play it when it comes out next week, and I hope you guys are just as excited to watch it. Deck9 has also stressed constantly throughout making the Expanse of Telltale series that your choices will truly matter in this game. Now, of course, for all of us Telltale fans, we know that choices make up the backbone of Telltale games, but more often than not, the choices are kind of just more so change the set dressing of a game than actually the outcome of the game. More often than not, the game will always start and end the same place. For example, in The Walking Dead Season 1, spoilers for it in case you haven't played already, but it's also 10 years old at this point, you're always going to start the game as Lee, handcuffed with the police officer. You're always going to end the game dead, either turned into a walker or being shot by Clementine. That's never going to change. The only difference is basically how you get there, basically, based on choices you make. With the Expanse of Telltale series, though, Deck9 has stressed, though, that won't be the case necessarily. While the ending may sort of be the same for everyone, considering that this is a prequel to the Expanse show and they gotta explain how Camila Drummer ends up where she does at the start of Season 2 of the TV show, the various characters you come to know and meet throughout the course of the game, their fates will be totally dependent on the choices you make. Now, for any of you Telltale fans who may remember this, people might groan like, oh, like, does this mean we're gonna have the choice to save someone or kill someone, but if we save that person, they're gonna die like 3 episodes later? That is not the case. This is something that's been very infamous throughout Telltale games, where you save a character only for them to die like 3 or 4 episodes later because they gotta die at some point. That won't be the case though with this. Telltale has confirmed alongside Deck9 that with the Expanse of Telltale series, you can finish the entire game with everyone surviving except for one person, or you can finish it with everyone dying except for one person. So that is huge. So while maybe the ending won't be the same, maybe Camila Drummer will always end up in the same spot necessarily, who you'll be around with by the end of the game will change depending on what the choices you make. So that's something to keep in mind as you go through this. So while maybe you'll be in the same spot by the end of the game, who you'll be in that spot with will change. So I'm super excited for that. And you might be looking right now at this in the course of the video, you'll be seeing little concept art renders of the main characters that are going to be appearing in the Expanse of Telltale series. I'm not going to go ahead and go over their whole bios because there's just a lot here that I don't want to like necessarily spoil the characters' bios for you, but I'll be showing like gameplay and renders of these characters in case you want to go ahead and get to know them better. Overall, the characters look spot on. I love the art style of the game. That looks like a good mix of Guardians of the Galaxy and Stranger Things Telltale series art style, mixed in with a bit more realism like Game of Thrones, a Telltale series. So I am eager to see how all of these characters will interact with each other and how we as Camila Drummer will interact with them as well. Now, to wrap up this video on the Expanse of Telltale series, we're going to be talking about which version of the Expanse of Telltale series you should buy from each of the 2 versions. There are 2 versions of the Expanse of Telltale series. You can buy the regular version for $40 or the deluxe edition for an extra $5, granting to a total of $45. So if you buy the Expanse of Telltale series regular edition for $40, you'll get access to the full game. That's Episode 1 Archer's Paradox, Episode 2 Hunting Grounds, Episode 3 First Ones, Episode 4 Impossible Objects, and Episode 5 Europa's Folly. If you pre-order it or the deluxe edition, you will get early access to the game's episodes 24 hours early. So however, this deal only applies to the PC and PlayStation versions of the game. So if you pre-order the Expanse of Telltale series on Epic Games Store, PS4, or PS5, you will get these episodes 24 hours early. So that means you'll be able to play Episode 1 on July 26th, on Wednesday, instead of July 27th, and the same goes for every subsequent episode going forward. Now you might be wondering, Sonic, what's so special about the deluxe edition for an extra $5? What do I get from those $5? And I'm happy to announce it here. So according to the description of the Expanse Telltale Series Deluxe Edition, it says that it will come with all 5 episodes of the main game, as well as a bonus episode named Archangel. So this was something I was really excited about reading about, because I'm like, oh man, a bonus episode, I love that. And this is something that's actually very common with Deck 9 games, that in deluxe editions of their games, they always give a bonus episode with their deluxe editions to basically give you more bang for your buck. Normally, these bonus episodes don't have a big impact on the game. It's not like a 6th episode that continues the story. It's more so usually just a one-shot spin-off episode where you interact with stuff from a different angle. It's more so for die-hard fans of the series. For example, in Life is Strange Before the Storm, its bonus episode was called Farewell, where you basically played as Max Caulfield when she was still a child, with her last day with Chloe before she left for Seattle. This was really big because at the time, this was the last time we would ever hear Ashley Burch as Chloe and Hannah Telle as Max, after they stopped voicing them back in 2015 with Life is Strange 1. With Life is Strange True Colors, the bonus episode there was Wavelengths, where you played as Steph a whole year before the events of True Colors, and basically explained how she ended up getting to where she was. Me personally, I loved Farewell more than Wavelengths. I'm not sure if I'll actually be doing a Let's Play of the Wavelengths bonus episode, because while I did play it and liked it, I had a lot of problems with recording it, and overall, it just didn't feel like something I wanted to replay. But I am super, super excited for the Archangel bonus episode, because I was thinking that, there wasn't a lot of stuff about the Archangel bonus episode when it was first announced with the Deluxe Edition. It just said, the Archangel bonus episode will focus on the UNN peace operations, being an all-new chapter that features a beloved character from the TV show. So, again, back when this was first announced, I didn't know anything about The Expanse. I had no idea who this character was going to be. And as I was watching, I'm thinking, oh, is this going to be about Miller? Is this going to be about Holden, Avasarala? I have no idea. And then, just yesterday at San Diego Comic-Con 2023, Telltale actually gave us the full details of the Expanse Telltale series Archangel bonus episode. And I am so happy to say that in the Expanse Telltale series bonus episode Archangel, we will be playing as none other than Christian Avasarala, set before the events of Season 1 of the show. And I am so happy for this, because as I said before, Avasarala is legit my favorite character in the Expanse show so far. I absolutely love Shohreh Aghdashloo's performance as her. I love how snarky she is. She's literally the Cersei/Tyrion of the Expanse show, and I love her so much. So they actually uploaded a trailer from San Diego Comic-Con onto their official YouTube channel of the Archangel bonus episode, giving us more info. So I'll go ahead and read the description of that episode right here. Christian Avasarala has the weight of worlds on her shoulders as she navigates threats to Earth, political opponents seeking to take her down as well, all while managing family drama on a day that will change her life forever. The Expanse Telltale series bonus episode Archangel will be released this fall exclusively to owners of the Deluxe Edition. So yeah, we don't get much from the trailer of the Expanse Telltale series Archangel bonus episode. All we see is of the UNN headquarters in New York City. And according to some interviews with Telltale and Deck 9 employees, it seems as though you'll be stuck in this place, basically playing as Avasarala. But again, it'll be cool to see her navigate the political landmine field of the Expanse, where she has to deal with potential threats from Mars and the Belt. She has to deal with other UN politicians who want to try and take her power, because apparently, according to the trailer for the Archangel bonus episode, this takes place before the events of Season 1, where Avasarala is sort of thrust into basically the leader of the UN position temporarily. Now, I'm not sure if this is where her character goes by the end of the Expanse, because I haven't finished the show. Again, I'm only barely halfway through Season 2, but again, I'm just so excited to see Avasarala in the Expanse Telltale series. Her model looks so spot on from how she appears in the show too, and hearing Shohreh Aghdashloo as Avasarala too, it's gonna be so good to play as her and see what exactly we're gonna be doing as her in this game. It just says that the episode takes place on a day that will change her life forever. So I imagine like she's still sort of like not so high up on the UN and like power board or like or just leadership corporate ladder thing. So I imagine this episode will basically explain how she gets to where she was in Season 1. I haven't watched a lot of The Expanse so far, so Telltale said that, oh, if you watch The Expanse, you'll probably know what this episode's going to be about. I haven't watched so much yet, so I'm not exactly sure what it is going to be about, but I am super excited to play as Avasarala, because again, she is literally my favorite character in The Expanse, and I can't wait to play it when it comes out this fall. The question is, though, when is the Archangel bonus episode going to come out? All Telltale said is that it would be releasing this fall, but assuming it follows the 2-week after every episode structure, let's say it comes out 2 weeks after the release of episode 5, Europa's Folly, I believe episode 5 is called. Yeah, Europa's Folly, same with episode 5 of the Telltale series. So assuming that Archangel comes out 2 weeks after Europa's Folly, that would mean that the bonus episode will be coming out on Thursday, October 5th. So we don't know, again, that's not a guaranteed date for when the Archangel bonus episode will come out, but that's just where I think it's going to be, because usually Deck 9 likes to release their bonus episodes quite a bit after. For the Life is Strange Before the Storm Farewell episode, that came out 3 months after Life is Strange Before the Storm ended. With the True Colors DLC, that came out about a month after True Colors came out. So I wouldn't be surprised, and considering we actually have like a brief gameplay snippet of the Archangel bonus episode here, that leads me to believe that it's pretty much done. They're probably just gonna iron some stuff out. I still believe that it's gonna be October 5th or October 4th when the Archangel bonus episode comes out, which, of course, I should have realized it was going to be about Avasarala, because literally, Archangel is Avasarala's code name. So I am just super excited for the Expanse series, and even more so excited for the Archangel bonus episode. I think this might just be my favorite bonus episode Deck 9 has ever done, so I can't wait to see what happens with it. And so that is everything you need to know about the Expanse the Telltale series, the first new Telltale game in over 5 years from both Telltale Games and Deck 9 Studios. The game will be launching on, again, July 27th for Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS4, PS5, and PC through the Epic Games Store with Episode 1, Archer's Paradox. But if you pre-order the game, you will be able to access it 24 hours early on July 26th for PC and PlayStation users. If you get the Deluxe Edition, you will get access to the bonus Archangel episode starring Christian Avasarala later on this fall. And are you guys excited for the release of a brand new Telltale game after 5 years since The Walking Dead, the final season opened? And I hope you enjoy my Let's Play of it when I start Episode 1, Archer's Paradox, later this week. I'll be covering both the Expanse of Telltale series and Transformers Earthspark over the next few months, and I hope you're just as excited as I am to cover it. If you're excited, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I will see you guys later.